And yesterday I was on Dylan Ratigan's program. Did you see that? With Neil deGrasse.
I saw that.
Who is, I've seen him before. He is a fairly well-known science guy. He is the head of the planetarium at the Museum of Natural History. And we sat on a panel, and I got to say, it's frustrating for me at times. Because he is talking about how important science is. And how the NASA budget is, you could pay the past 50 years of NASA budget with 1 year's defense budget expenditures. Just operationally speaking, I think, the defense budget. And he's talking about the importance of science in a couple of different ways in terms of exploration. He's talking about the value of science for the sake of knowledge, which, of course, in this day and age in this country is almost a laughable concept. The idea that anybody would just pursue knowledge for the sake of knowledge, that's ridiculous. This whole country has become essentially full of people who are just raising their hand and asking the teacher, is this going to be on the test? Because if it's not going to be on the test, why do we need to know this? But he also wanted to, and so during the course of the conversation, I brought up to him a recent study, which I'll be talking about with Chris Moody in a pre-recorded interview that's going to play over the course of the vacation next week. There's a study that shows that since 1974, there has been a loss in faith in science, a loss of trust in science, belief in science, by a very specific cohort of people in this country. And that are conservatives. And not conservatives who are uneducated, but conservatives who are educated. If you look at the graph, you see that anybody but conservatives, their faith in science has basically continued to rise slowly. But educated conservative ones, their belief in science has dropped like a stone. And so I mentioned this to him. I said, what accounts for this? How are you going to deal with this? And basically he said, and Ratigan echoed, that it is a failure on the part of our government to fill the vacuum that has been created by a lack of defense of science. And he cited, in the 60s, and really, I think probably before then, really through much of the 20th century, up until the early 70s, we heard so much about tomorrow. You had these world fairs that were all about the future. Like the Epcot Center was built, or not the Epcot Center, but there was all these like future worlds, and it was always about the future, always about tomorrow.
Tomorrowland.
That
was,
and they said that it's because government hasn't done a good job in sort of drumming up interest in this. But the thing that deGrasse and Ratigan failed to understand is that there has been a concerted effort on the right to demonize science for one reason and one reason only, in my estimation. It dovetails nicely with aligning yourself with religious fundamentalists and getting their votes. And it's also nice because if you can strip away objective reality, then the idea that cigarettes cause cancer, or that the mercury poisoning that we're being subjected to because of coal-fired power plants, or the greenhouse gases, which are threatening I think it's fair to say, the existence of our civilization as we know it, you can disregard these things and the implications on your bottom line if you're a corporate interest. But there's an overarching umbrella as to why conservatives fundamentally have been working against science. And that is because, as Neil deGrasse is actually saying when he was expanding upon, when he was questioned at one point by one of the other panelists, Imogen Lloyd Webber, about Richard Branson. Richard Branson, the big millionaire, billionaire entrepreneur from Virgin. I don't know how much money he has, more than me. Has his own private space thing. And deGrasse said, well, he's just going from one place to another. He's not exploring in any way. For this, we need government. It takes a government. It takes all of us to marshal resources. It takes government to do this. And that's the irony is he doesn't understand that's exactly why conservatives attack science. Because it is through science, and it is in the use of science and the pursuit of science and of knowledge that we can see that collectively we can solve certain problems. And that at the heart of it is what conservatives fear, is that the American public, that us as a society will have that realization that that's what it takes and that government can solve problems. We have actually begun to repair the ozone layer because of government regulation, because of government initiatives to cut down on fluorocarbons. This is why conservatives don't want you to know that it's government that provides you with Social Security. It's that government provides you with Medicare. They don't want you to realize that 40 million people in this country are already on a single-payer healthcare system. And it's, in fact, the sickest and most elderly of our population. In other words, the hardest people to insure. And not just the hardest people to insure in terms of cost containment, but also it would become easier with the more people that were covered. This is at the heart of why conservatives attack science. It's because they don't want our citizens to realize that it takes government and that actual government can actually solve problems. And the thing that's so frustrating to me about it is that, Ratigan's show, to his credit, is really focused on problem solving and what our government can do. But you cannot have that happen if you do not address the fundamental problem that is prohibiting government from finding solutions. And that is that there is an entire political apparatus that is predicated and incentivized to make sure that the government can provide no solutions. Because if the government does provide solutions, regardless of what those solutions are, it undercuts their very reason for being and all the things that are going to provide them with success.